that conversation, bro, because this is how we can end the show because this is really important. Leading up into that point before that game, even after the 49ers game, bro, the conversation shifted. The momentum shifted for the first time in 2 years. 3 years, actually. I'll take that back. 3 years. People were starting to say, wait a minute, is Justin Herbert really better than Tua? Wait a minute. Is Justin Herbert, why doesn't he win enough? Look what he has. Are we really making are we making excuses for Justin Herbert? And was Tua really the right pick this entire time? Hold up, there's a reason why it was tank for Tua and not tank for Herbert. That was crazy. So Rod, when you saw that conversation, that narrative start to shift, and it got out of the depths of TuAnon, and it started to getting on a national stage. How did that feel, and how did you react to that, bro?
Well, Herb, I want to say that this was probably spearheaded by Emmanuel Acho. A
No,
guy
no,
who
no, no, no.
just
We'll get to him. We'll get to him. I want to start strictly from TuAnon though, and then we'll get to the national media. Then we'll
oh,
get to the
okay,
national
okay.
media. So from TuAnon, could you please explain TuAnon to the people who are not familiar with what TuAnon is?
So for the people listening at home who have never heard of or are not familiar with TuAnon are a group of fans, whether they be Dolphin fans or Alabama fans or just people who love Tua. It's just it's a strange dynamic, but they're basically people who, no matter what Tua does, they ride hard for him. They believe heavy in his talent, and and it's funny because of how the first 2 years went. TuAnon developed this deep hatred of Justin Herbert. Maybe not all of TuAnon, but a good majority, right? And they're coming up with all kind of arguments, and they're not fan. They're trying to find a way to kind of bring him down. And they love this season was the perfect stage. The stage was set to kind of make that argument because listen, in my opinion, at least in this season, what I'm saying, I never thought Tua was better than Herbert because at the end of the day, and let me just put it to you straight like this. Even though I like Tua, at the end of the day, Justin Herbert has the elite arm talent plus the decision making. Like anything Tua can do, Herbert can do, and he's actually been more, at least in my opinion, been consistently good with how he plays football, and he's playing in a bad offensive system. Herbie, I saw a meme that made me laugh, dog. They were saying that it was a meme, and it goes, Herbert plays in an offense that you think Tua would play in, and Tua plays in an offense that you think Herbert would play in. And I laugh, Herbie, because that's exactly how I think most people feel. I want to point something out too, Herbie. Joe Lombardi, who is the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, he is everything that Sean Payton is not because he took Sean Payton's system that he used with Drew Brees, but he doesn't have the attention to detail that Sean Payton has, and yet Justin Herbert in a bootleg system can still make it work. So TuAnon was just, TuAnon, they just couldn't wait to anoint Tua. And I get it. Like, I also feel like Tua kind of took a little more slack than he really needed to. I always thought he was a better player than he showed, but at the end of the day, Tua has more limitations, I think, as a player than Herbert does. And I think that, at the end of the day, when you look at it, am I upset that you drafted Tua over Herbert? No, because Tua was who I wanted, Herb. I will never be one of those people who will turn back. Like, dude, I felt like drafting Herbert was like drafting Tannehill. My bad, Justin Herbert. I'm sorry I looked at you that way, bro. I guess I just wasn't watching the proper film videos on you, bro, because there were a lot of people saying that, oh, you can't take Herbert. But now look at the dude. The argument against him is that he doesn't win. But at the end of the day, if you look at how he plays in a vacuum, the talent is there. The consistency is there. I mean, look what he did with a team that both of our teams were missing guys on defense, but he's been missing his best receivers all year long. So, when you look at the Tua Herbert discussion, TuAnon is just a group of fanatics who I don't even think some of these niggas be Dolphin fans, bro, because it's like me, I'm a Dolphin fan. Like, I ride with whoever goes. If Tua plays like trash, I'm gonna say he plays like trash. Like, you can't make excuses for everything a nigga does, Herbie. That's when
Absolutely.
people can't take you seriously. Like, the guy doesn't
Absolutely.
walk on water. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't walk on, like, Tua can be bad. Like, it's okay for him to be bad.
Okay.
Like,
So
it's
so
crazy.
so okay, so to explain TuAnon, right? I think what happens with TuAnon is the fact that because Tua himself has overcome so much adversity from all the injuries that he had to have surgery for, the hip, the foot, the ankle, the hand,
His
the
ribs.
the ribs, the fingers, everything, right? Like this dude is a cyborg at this point, bro. Like this is like
Bionic man.
he's bionic man, bro. He's $1 million man at this point, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to protect him. Like it's like TuAnon sees Tua like he's their little brother on that point. And then Tua's just an adorable guy. You just want to squeeze his little cheeks, don't you, dog? Like
You know what, Herbie? I like what Rich Eisen says. I like salty Tua. I love salty Tua. He needs to be more salty, bro. I don't know why he doesn't, man.
because at the end of the day, bro, he was raised like a good guy, right? So
Yes.
there's that. Now let's move that conversation into the national media, bro, spearheaded by Emmanuel Acho. And again, this is one thing I think I see a lot of people that hate Emmanuel Acho, and that proves how good he is at television. Emmanuel
Yes.
Acho is phenomenal at television, right?
Yes.
Emmanuel Acho is the first person to say that Justin Herbert was overrated on the national media, right? And he was like, wait a minute. He pulled the reverse cowherd. He was like, ooh, I'm getting some traction. So he went
Went
deep
all
into
in.
that, all
All
in.
in.
And
Yep.
then he saw the perfect person to latch on, which is the opposite of Justin Herbert in every way, right? Tua. And they came to a head. And for the past 12 weeks, Emmanuel Acho has been boosting up this matchup, boosting up this heavyweight battle, which we just had this past Sunday. And now when you saw it in fruition, and remember the pod before the game, what did I say about Justin Herbert? I said I'm actually more impressed this season than I've ever been impressed prior to that. I think he's better than I thought he was because of this season. Yes, they've had the games where he's threw a pick at the end of the game, bro. It is what it is, bro. But if you actually sit down and watch and break down the film and watch what was going on, everything around him was not good, bro. The only reason why they have 7 wins is because of him. If you put a bad quarterback, you put an average, or you put a good, if you put Dak on that Chargers team, bro, they have 3 wins right now, bro. Maybe.
Bro, you know what's funny about what you say about Herbert? He had 39 completions against us, Herbie. He had 39 completions against the Dolphins. And here's the thing, like when you watch the film, to your point, Herbie, the way the Chargers design their plays, the Chargers don't attack downfield. They run a lot of like stick concepts and curl flats. And like they want to nickel and dime you with a quarterback with that kind of arm talent. Now, I understand the Chargers don't have like any speed, dog. Like the one speedy guy they had, he's out for the season. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are really good receivers, but they're not good. They're not going to take the top off of defense, especially after all the injuries these guys keep sustaining. So you're left with an offense where Justin Herbert is forced to nick and dunk, and yet he can do that efficiently and still give you a big time throw 2 or 3 times a game. So listen, I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm always going to love all things Dolphin, but I appreciate great football, good football, no matter who it is. I'm not going to have a bias toward it, especially a guy who I was trashing when he was coming out. The fact that he is where he is, Herbie, I become more impressed with the guy every year, to be honest with you.
And again, bro, like it kind of sucks, bro. I get why TuAnon made it their effort to go at Justin Herbert and try to step on his neck. And
Well, you know what, Herb? I do want to say this.
what's up?
Especially as a Dolphin fan, I can speak from experience just from watching the internet. Because of how mediocre Tua looked his first 2 years, we were eating it,
You had
Herbie.
to eat a lot of stuff. And
We were
why
eating it.
like I don't get it though. Like why was Tua? Tua is one of the most uninteresting football players I could ever remember, bro. Why did he become public enemy number one? I could see if he was the first overall pick. He wasn't. There were 3 or 4 other players that got picked above him. Like it doesn't make any sense why people put this flag down on. So, oh, actually, I take that back, bro, because he was picked before Justin Herbert. So in making in trying to make everybody forget that everybody was saying they would be retarded to draft Justin Herbert above Tua. Everybody had to retroactively go super hard on Tua to make people forget like that they ever thought Tua was good to begin with. Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith,
Shannon Sharp.
Janice, you name it. There is not a single person other than the random Oregon fan, Mike Tannenbaum, and Jeff Schwartz that thought that the Miami Dolphins should take Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa, bro. So to see everybody completely try to shit on this man for 2 years just because y'all were wrong, bro, it had nothing to do with Tua, dog, and it was kind of unfair, right? However, when you guys had your opportunity, and not including you, Rod, you guys were very obnoxious. You got to try to get your get back, bro. So for him,
Oh man, listen, Herbie, and you know what, Herbie? Like when because Tua for the most part generally has had a pretty damn good season. Dolphins' chance were beating their chest, man. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like it got to the point to where it was just like, okay, guys, we haven't really done anything. We're just winning regular
Facts.
season games.
Facts.
Like let's calm down. Let's see this thing play out all the way. But we like what we see from our guy Herbie. My thing has always been since this whole thing has happened, since we drafted Tua and Chargers got Herbert, it doesn't matter to me who's better, Herbie. If they're both good, we win. Right? Like in the draft where you have John Elway and Dan Marino, like who cares which guy you think is better as long as they're both good. That's all that ever mattered to me, Herbie. Herbert could be better than Tua. That's fine. That's not a bad thing. Listen, it's not the same thing as picking Trubisky over Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, if the guy is comparable, if he can play well, if he can lead us to where we want to be, nigga, I'm happy no matter what. I ain't worried about what someone else has. You can't change anything. You know what I mean? And it's just unfortunate that people just take it to just a whole nother level when it comes to this because, like you said, nobody wants to be wrong, Herbie. Like everybody wants to make their point and then they stick to it to a fault. And I just think that's disingenuous, man. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay for your guy to have a bad game. Like that's why I can never be on a debate show, Herbie. Like look at Skip Bayless, Herbie. This nigga be caping still for Baker Mayfield. Baker is a fucking bum. Baker Mayfield is a bum and still gets screen time. People still want to hear this. Skip Bayless is caping for him. Skip Bayless trashes my quarterback, who was at least considered an MVP, over a nigga who scraps. Get the fuck out of like,
bro.
I don't
Could beat
understand
out a XFL quarterback and Sam Darnold, man. Like,
Come on,
and the worst part about Baker having that comeback, bro. People forget that he was terrible for the other 55 minutes of that game, bro.